Welcome back to Cosmetics Anonymous. I am your favorite baby mama, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is a story time. Yeah, it's a story time. This is actually requested because the other day I was on my Instagram live and somebody asked me for tips on passing the driving test. But girl, hunty, I'm not the one you want to be asking that. Can I drive now? Yes, but it took me many fails, many fails to get my license. And so I'm gonna start from beginning and then take y'all to when I actually got my license, and I'm embarrassed to say, okay? I'll start with the actual written test. So basically when I was 19, I think, turned 20, I think it was 19 turning 20, not 18 turning 19. I'm not sure which one it was. Either way, when I was like 19 turning 20 years old, I was like, I'm not going to turn 20 and not have my license. In America, it's a way different than it is in Canada. Here, what you do is you go into the drive test center and you get a written test. And so the written test is basically your permit. Once you have a G1, you're allowed to drive as long as somebody with a G2 or G is in the car with you. It should actually be a G driver, but some people don't care. Sometimes it's a G2 driver teaching you how to drive, but realistically, if you're getting lessons from somebody, they should have a G license, and I think they should have at least 4 years experience as a G driver. The night before my test, I studied on this like website that basically gives you the test questions. I think 20 questions on the test. You have to get 16 to pass. You can only get 4 wrong, okay? So the night before my test, I went on the website and I was studying and I was looking at the signs, because there's 2 parts to the test. There's one that is signs and the other is I don't even remember, but it's the point is the answers are common sense answers, and the test is multiple choice. So you're like, this finna be a breeze, okay? Like you think that you're about to go in there and you're gonna do well. So I go in for the test. This is my first time even looking at a test for this. Like when I was on the little website that does the test with you, it tells you whether your answers are right or wrong. And so that website is very helpful. I don't know what the website is called, but if you Google it, you'll find it, okay? So it's like practice G1 test, okay? I went in for the test or whatever. I was super nervous. When it got to the final part of the test, like signs, I was like, ooh, this is easy breezy. I got through the signs with the quickness. But when it got to the other questions, it was like, I just didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just like, I hope this is right. So I'm doing the test or whatever, and I'm freaking out, and I'm like, shit, I probably failed. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm freaking out. Once I was finished, I brought my test to the person to be graded, and she's marking my test, and I don't know if it's because my birthday was literally in a couple days and she looked at the date, or I think my birthday was the day after. I don't know if it was because my birthday was in a couple days or if I actually passed, but the girl gave me a nice birthday present and she passed me. I was almost sure I got more than 4 questions wrong, because I felt there was more than 4 times on the test that I was like, ooh, what's the answer to this? So I don't know if I actually really passed my G1 test, but the girl was kind and she passed me, so I was like, okay, thank you, ma'am, I appreciate you. And that was basically it, and I was so ecstatic because I got my G1. And so maybe she passed me because she was just like, you know what, she ain't finna drive anyway. And also, let me say this, the reason I waited so long to get my G1 was because there was no car to drive. Like, my mom had a car for a while, but then the car broke down and she never got another car. We was on the bus like regular folk. So I just never bothered to get my license because I just didn't think it was important. Not that it wasn't important, it's very important, but there was no car to drive, there was no car to practice in, and so I was just like, there's no point in me getting my license. I live in Toronto, TTC is everywhere and anywhere, so like, I'm good. I love the bus. I used to love the bus, you know, except for in the winter time. But yeah, so I got my license that day. I think it was the 27th of April that I got my license. In whatever year that was, okay? Once you are issued your license, you have 5 years. 5 before it expires, before you can get your G2. You can get your G2 within 8 months to a year of receiving your G1. The only thing is, if you want to get it sooner, which is like the 8 months, then you would have to do driving school. Back then when I had my G1, I was just getting it for ID so that I could buy liquor. Because I didn't have ID to buy liquor, and anytime I went to the liquor store, they would give me problems because my passport was old and expired, and also it was a child's photo on there, like it was dumb. And also they stopped accepting health cards as a form of ID. And so I didn't have ID, and I was like, I need ID. I'm a party girl. I need to be able to go out and get liquor. That's why I got my license. Ridiculous, I know. After I got my license, I was in no hurry to get my G2 because, like I said, there was no car to drive. And so I don't know why, but one day, a year, maybe a year and a half had passed, I decided that I wanted to get my G2 anyway. I think I had a decent job, and I was like, maybe I want to buy a car. All my friends were getting their licenses, and they had cars and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get on their level and all this, and I couldn't get on their level if I didn't have my license. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just go do a test. How hard could the test be, bitch? I had hired a driving instructor to teach me how to drive, and I was like, look, my test on Thursday, it's Monday, let's get a shit popping, because realistically you only need 10 hours in car. So I was like, I don't want to go to the in-class, I just want to pay for the car sessions. How much is it to do that? I don't remember. I think I paid $175 for her to teach me. And you guys you guys, she knew I was going to fail. I remember her saying to me, you're not ready. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean I'm not ready? The day of my test, I remember it was super rainy. This is my first test ever, okay? It was super rainy. I was just like, ugh, like I was so nervous. My anxiety through the roof. Hello, hi, how are you? And I was just preparing myself. So me and the instructor, we get to the center, we wait in line, we do what we need to do. You have to book your test ahead of time. We do what we need to do. I remember it being at Victoria Park. I went to the Victoria Park location to do this first test. I should have been going to Port Union because Port Union is the easier place to get your license, they say. But Victoria Park is where the people that got sticks up their booties are. Yeah, so they told me, they're like, okay, your test is at whatever time, go park your car in one of those zones and wait for an instructor to come up to you. I go, I sit, I wait, and I'm like, who am I gonna get as an instructor? I'm scoping out the other instructors. I'm scoping out the people that have just finished their test and the people that are about to do their test, because you could tell right away if somebody done failed, okay? You could tell. So I'm looking at everybody and I'm trying to see, I'm like, oh, I want that person to do my test or whatever. Of course, I didn't get who I wanted, okay? I didn't get who I wanted. I got some old Caucasian man, and that didn't matter at the time, okay? It didn't matter. But he came up to the window. I handed him my or he already had my license. He came up to the window and he's asking me questions about my license, because they have to verify that it's you and not your twin sister or somebody doing the test for you. He does all that. He makes me makes me show him my indicator lights. He makes me show him my brake lights. I have to honk the horn to make sure that works. And I think that's it. And so they do all that, and then they hop in the car and they're like, okay, this test is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to ask you to do anything illegal, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're extra as hell. But that's their little script. They're like, I'm not going to tell you to do anything illegal. Just follow my instructions and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Okay? And so I'm like, all right, cool. This is about to be, this is going to be a breeze. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. So he tells me when I'm coming out the parking lot to go, I think, left. Everybody else that was doing the test was going right. So automatically in my head, I'm like, this about to fail me. Like, he's really about to fail me. Why is he making me go opposite everybody else? So I was like, okay. So I take my turn and things are going great. You know, I'm still in the parking lot. It's not a big deal. Now, in this Victoria Park drive test center spot, it's a plaza, and there's lots of like little curbs and stuff. And so I needed to make a left turn to go to be in the spot to cross the street and be like at the red light, but my car ended up on the fucking curb. I can't even deal. This is my first test. The car ended up on the curb, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, please don't fail me. And I didn't know how to get the car off the curb. The answer was simple. If your wheels are on the curb this way, just turn the wheel that way and come off the fucking curb, girl. But I couldn't think because I was just in panic mode. So the driving instructor had to like move the wheel for me, and I was like, okay, like if the driving instructor has to reach over and move the wheel for you, you're done, bud. Like, you're done. So already my test is frigged and we haven't even left the parking lot. We're still in the parking lot. So anyway, he's like, you're gonna go straight through the light and you're gonna make a left turn there, okay? And so I was like, okay, perfect. So the light goes green, I wait, I go across the street, I make the left turn, I turn around, I come out, I do a right turn, sorry. I made a right turn, and then I circle around, I put my indicator on again, and I'm turning left now. I go out, and he's like, go straight through the light. Back to the test center, okay? This is, the test center's here. I crossed the street here, made my turn here, and he was bringing me back to the test center. I said, this test's not long enough, sir. Like, we're not done here. Well, I still got skills to show you. Bitch, he already decided from the minute my ass went on the curb that I was an unfit driver and I was not ready to be on the fucking road. And so I remember tweeting, let me see if I find that right now. 2013 is when this happened. It was the 28th of June 2013. I said, about to do my road test, while waiting for the instructor. Keep praying, guys. My friend had messaged me back way late on Twitter, and she's like, good luck. And I was like, you're late. I failed it. Hit the curb. Dude can suck my ass. I was so upset, you guys. And so my cousin actually tweeted me, and she's like, I hit the curb and still passed. Where did you go? And so I was just like, listen, man, I can't control these people. But anyway, so he was making me drive back to the test center right away, and I was like, okay, well, that test was short as frig. And so he made me park, and I parked perfectly, and he tells me, he's like, turn off the engine. Turn off the engine and don't go anywhere. I cannot pass you today because blah 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 blah. You did all this wrong. I said, we drove from literally A to B and back to A. We didn't even do C, D, E, F, none of that. So what you mean? What you mean? So I was pissed, of course. I started bawling my eyes out while I was trying to hold it in while he's sitting in the car and he's talking. I was like, okay, speed it up, sir. Like, let's go, come on. And so because it was my first time and I knew I didn't get enough practice, it didn't hit me as hard as when I failed the second time, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. That was the first time I failed. So the second time I failed my driving test, I once again had no practice. I don't know, I felt confident that I could just wing it, and I don't know why I would do this, because once you fail the first time, you have to pay $50 every single time you fail. The first time is paid for with your G1, but when you take the test again, you have to pay $50. So if you fail and you fail again and you fail again, you're paying $50 every single time. So that adds up, okay? It's stressful. And so I don't remember when the second test was, but I know that I had borrowed my friend's Nissan Altima. She had a white Altima, and ironically enough, this made me hate Altimas because the car was such a big body car. It was a 4-door. It was such a big body car. I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to driving any damn thing. She was like, I can do the test for you, you know. I can do the test for you. I was like, no, like, I have to do this myself. Like, you're not supposed to do the test for me, and then all of a sudden I'm murdering people in the street because I can't drive. Like, you know, I have to do the test myself. Because everybody always used to say we looked alike, and so she's like, if you just tell me what's on your license, like, I'll just recite that to the people. They'll never know the difference. I was like, nah, it's okay, I'll do it myself. So I get ready, I book this test. My friend lets me borrow her car to do the test. She actually came with me. I don't think I got practice this time. I did not have any practice. And this time the instructor was a black lady, and I was like, okay, you know what, she a sister, she finna help me out or whatever, she finna give me my license. And so now, bitch, it wasn't going down like that ever.com. Like, she wasn't about to give me any leeway, nothing. And so, well, actually she was trying to give me leeway, but it just wasn't popping, okay? This time, I think I had booked at Port Union because it's the better test center to book at. So I booked at Port Union, and the lady comes out, she does the same thing the guy does, and she hops in the car. She's like, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything illegal, blah, 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 this is what it is. Now, the thing is, the driving instructors have a quota to meet for fails, so I'm told, and so I was definitely falling into the quota every time I did the damn test, except for the last time I did the test, but that's neither here nor there. I felt more comfortable because I was like, okay, you know, she's black, she's gonna help me. No, she was not here to help me. She was very stern and very, like, straight face, and like, they tried to intimidate you. And so that was the thing. Like, if you suffer from anxiety and stuff, this test is all the more hard. Every single time you have to do it, your anxiety level is spiked, okay? Like super spiked, more than the last time you did the test. And so that's what happened here. And so I was nervous and I was doing the test. Everything's going smoothly, so I thought, but when it came to parking, girl, she had me doing a parallel park, and they say if you fail parallel park, you don't get your license, okay? I don't even know what I did wrong on that test, but I know my parallel park was fucked because she made me do it twice. We pull onto this little side road, and she asked me to parallel park, and I was like, okay. And so I'm doing the steps that I think I might have YouTubed it. I don't even remember. Like, I don't know how. I tried to figure it out. I just tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me though. So I tried to parallel park, and the first time I ended up backing onto the curb again. And so I was like, oh my gosh, not the curb. Like, the curb is my worst freaking enemy. I came off or whatever, and I was like, oh, please don't fail me. She's like, I'm gonna give you one more try to do that parallel park. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Fucked it up again. I said, okay, you know what? Let's just go back to the test center because I already know you're gonna fail me. I don't need to waste any more of your time or my time. Let's just go back to the test center. And this is exactly what we did. We went back to the test center, girl, because I already knew she was gonna fail me. It was no point in even finishing the damn test because I knew my ass couldn't drive. Like, I knew I couldn't drive. I don't know why I think I just tried to convince myself, like I was literally lying to myself, that I could drive. And I felt like if I told myself I could drive, I could drive. But like around this time, I kept trying to get money to take driving school because I wanted to do driving school so bad. And so this is at one of those times where I would ask my dad for money and he would never come through. And like I was trying to tell him, like, I want to go to driving school, I want to do this and that, and he wasn't trying to help a sister out. So I said, F you and your eyebrows and your bald ass head. Like, I was so done. So that was the second time I failed. Of course, when I failed that time, I think because my friend was there, I didn't cry. I didn't cry because I knew I wasn't, like, that time I knew. I just knew. it wasn't as hurtful as the first time. So then the third time rolls around, and at this point it's probably been 2.5 years since I had my license, and so you only have 5 years to get the shit done. And I needed to get the shit done because I wasn't trying to have my friend. I actually had a friend whose license expired, and once your license expires, you have to start all over again. You have to get your G1 all over again. I'm like, I'm not doing that damn test again. What if I can't get the answers right the second time? No, hell no. So once it was 2.5 years, I was like, okay, I have to get my license now. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, and this was at a point in my life too where I didn't have much going on, and so I was like, I need something to make me feel like I'm a somebody. You know what I mean? So I went to do my third test. I don't remember whose car. I don't know if I got somebody to rent me a car. I don't remember what I did. I don't know what the hell I did. But either way, I found a car to do my test. And I tried to do my test again. And once again, I failed. And I said, oh my gosh, there's no way. I was like, there's no way I'm about to pay $50 again and lose this $50 because this means now I'm in $100 of this test. And I can't, and like, I need help. Me and I think my cousin went out practicing driving, and we booked our test and we were ready to go, and we're like, okay, cool, like, we're gonna do our test. We booked them around the same time. We both ended up failing. I don't even remember what my mistakes were that time. I honestly don't. Like, it's honestly a blur. Either way, it was the third time I was failing the test, and that is when I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do driving school because clearly it's not working out. There's no way for me. Maybe if I did the written part, like, I felt like I was skipping steps. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I do the in class, then I'll get my 10 hours in car, and you know, driving school's expensive, but maybe it's worth it. And you get discount on your insurance. So I was like, after I failed the third time, I was like, okay, I have to go to driving school. It's not a question. And so by the time I was starting driving school, it was when I was living in Ottawa. So that means that in 2015 is when I did driving school. Because I still didn't have my license. So in 2015, I was like, I really need to get my license. I'm not going to play anymore. It's time. I gotta go to driving school. And this is when I damn near lost my mind because the driving instructor was ridiculous, okay? ridiculous. And Shooter will tell you, because Shooter had the driving instructor too, and like he was so freaking crazy. Like he was insane. So let me tell you about my first experience with the driving school instructor in car. Because in class was bomb. And so after you finish your 20 hours in class, they're like, okay, we're going to assign you to somebody and they're going to message you and tell you or ask you what your schedule is, and then you guys will go out and drive. And I was like, okay, cool. And so the 10 hours in car, you're supposed to drive the entire time in car, okay? Your driving instructor is not supposed to drive during your 10-hour sessions or then during your sessions, okay? You only have 10 hours. So if your driver is driving while you're supposed to be driving, how are you practicing? What you gonna do? Press on the brakes on the passenger side? Girl, bye. So they assigned me to this guy named Ali, okay? Shooter was trying to use him to get his G license, okay? And so Shooter was like, babe, you're not gonna like him. And I was like, why? He's like, you'll see. He wouldn't tell me what the issue was. He just said, you're not gonna like him. And I was like, okay, like we'll see when we cross that bridge, you know, we'll you know. The first time meeting him, I got to the car and he was sitting in the passenger seat. And so I came in the car and I sat in the driver's seat and I said, hey, I'm so-and-so. And he introduced himself to me, and literally for freaking 30 minutes of my driving hour, we were sat in front of my building chit-chatting like we was at Starbucks. I was pissed. He was telling me, he's asking me, he's like, okay, have you driven before? I'm like, yes, I've driven before. And I told him how many tests I failed and blah, blah, blah. So he was instructing me for my 4th test, okay? This is my first time meeting him. And so he's talking to me and he's like telling me, I don't even know what he was telling me, to be honest, because his accent was so damn thick, I could barely understand the man. And so I was just doing a lot of smile and nod, bitch, smile and nod. And that's what I was doing, because he was just going on and on and on. And so he's talking to me, and he said, do you believe in Allah or God? And I was like, aren't they the same thing? Like, what do you mean? And so he was, or I think he might have said Jesus. And so I told him, and so I was like, but what does that have to do with anything? Like, why is that relevant to my driving instruction? Can we please drive, sir? I don't even know. The point is, he was talking to me for a very long time, and he was explaining to me things that were explained in driving class. In the 20 hours that I sat in the class for, he was saying stuff to me that was already said in there, and I was like, sir, I have 10 hours and we cannot sit out here for 30 damn minutes talking about God and Jesus and all, like, we can't do it. I am so sorry. We can talk about God after. Okay, you want to have Bible study, we can do it. Okay, pull out the Quran, what you want to do. But like, we're not going to sit out here and waste my driving time. I think once I told him that I had failed my test so many times, he asked me why, and I told him I have severe anxiety, and it just, every time I'm in the car with the instructor, I just crumble under pressure. Like, I can't handle it. I don't know if that's why he brought up the whole God talk, but whatever. Anyway, once we get to finish talking, he decides that he is going to drive to the spot that we're going to drive around at, which was another maybe 5-10 minutes away. That's 40 minutes of my first class out of the window, okay? And his little broke down Toyota Corolla, like, I couldn't deal. Okay, so he makes me sit in the passenger seat. He drives to the location, and then he makes me drive in this like residential area. So you have to drive slower in a residential area. And so his version of slow is literally 20 kilometers per hour. Do you know how slow that is? You cannot go past 20 with this man. Hell, you can't go past 15. And if you're doing a turn, you can't go past 2 kilometers per hour. I'm not even exaggerating. He refused to let you go the speed limit. If you were on the main road, which is 50, he wanted you to drive 45 on the main road. I said, I am not driving Miss Daisy. There's no reason for me to drive 45. I should be driving 55, okay? Like, what do you mean? And so I was like, what the hell? If you were going over 20 in the residential area, he would be pressing on your brake, like, because there's a brake on the passenger side of a driving instructor's car. And so he would press on the brake and he would say, too fast, too fast. And I would just be like, too fast? Like, I am not Paul Walker. Like, what are you talking about? 20 kilometers 20 and he's talking about too fast. If you were going 21 and up, it was too fast. If you were turning more than 2 kilometers per hour, it was too fast. And so I'm not exaggerating. This is real life. And so that was my first class with him. And then I drove back home. I got out of the car and I was like, okay, I'll see you next time, bud. Like, bye. Like, you know, I get home and I'm like, Shooter, what the hell is that? Like, I was pissed. I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me that this is how the guy is? And so I was like, I might need to get a new instructor because I don't think if he's teaching me how to drive, I'm not gonna pass my test. And this is my 4th time taking the test. It is 2015, honey. I can't be taking this test for the rest of my life. Like, my license is gonna expire soon. Like, you know what I mean? And so the second time I had a class with him, he was sitting on the driver's side again, and I said, Ali, like, you can't drive to wherever we're going. I have to drive there because you're taking up my class time. Like, it doesn't make sense. What did I pay for? I paid to drive for 10 hours, not 6 out of the 10, okay? Like, you know what I mean? I need to drive for the 10 hours, so I have to drive. He's like, you're not ready. And I'm like, that's why you're here. You're supposed to teach me how to drive properly, and I'm struggling with you. So let's figure something out, because I'm not gonna, like, there's no point in you driving. There's no point in me being in this car if I'm not driving it. There's absolutely no point, because I'm not driving and knocking pedestrians over like this is Grand Theft Auto. Like, you know what I mean? Or Crazy Taxi. Like, I'm really not doing them the most. You didn't even let me drive. You didn't even let me show you how I drive or anything. You're just being crazy. Yeah, so he ends up going in the passenger side with an attitude, and I sit in the driver's seat, and we pull off and we go. Once again, he's telling me I'm driving too fast. I must be going about 35, you guys. And like, that is slow as hell. You need to be going 50 on a main road. You cannot do 35 on a main road because you will cause an accident. Like, their speed limits are in place for a reason. Nobody drives 35, like, nobody. So he's freaking out, telling me this, that, and the third. We get to the residential area, and of course I have to slow down to 20. And so this is the day that I broke down and I could not take it anymore. So we're in the residential area and we're doing circles and stuff, and like, he's making me do parallel park, and he's trying to teach me things about looking through the hole in the windshield wiper, because through the hole you can see the curb and all kinds of crazy shit. Like, my G, just tell me the steps to parallel park. I don't need to look through the hole of the windshield wiper, because guess what? We're not the same height, so that's not gonna work for me. Okay, it's just not. And he tried the same thing with Shooter. He tried to tell Shooter that he needs to look through the windshield hole, or the windshield wiper hole, to park. Shooter is 6'2". He can see way above that hole. What he sees when he looks in that hole is not what Ali sees, okay? Yeah, so we're parallel parking, and I'm trying to learn how to parallel park, and I'm not learning. And so he's like, okay, let's do uphill instead, or whatever. We're doing all kinds, okay? We're doing all kinds by the curb. We're doing all kinds of park. We're doing 3-point turns and all this. And 3-point turn was easy peasy. I already knew how to do that. So, but parallel park was definitely something I really wanted to learn, because I was just like, I need to know how to parallel park, especially living where I live now. You have to know how to parallel park in Ottawa, because girl, that's all there is to do out here. Okay, parallel park and go to dinner. That's it. So I'm driving and I'm going faster than he would like me to go, because like I said, 20 and under is what you're allowed to do in Ali's car. And he freaks out on me. He freaks the fuck out. He's like, pull over, pull over, pull over. I'm like, Ali, wait, why? Like, what do I need to pull over for? He's telling me to pull over, put my hazards on. I said, okay. First of all, if you are a driving instructor, you need to be calm, because you're not going to give somebody like me that has anxiety, you're not going to start on me in the car talking about pull over, pull over. So we pull over, and he pulls out this big book, okay? Like, the book was so thick. The book was so thick, you guys. Like, it was so thick. It was like the Webster's dictionary, bitch. Like, it was thick, okay? It was thicker than me. It was thick, okay? And he has all these newspaper clippings in this book about car accidents and underage drivers and people that blah blah blah, and I'm just like, why is he showing me this? And he's telling me the accident rate, and he's telling me all these people killed by car and blah blah blah. He's like, this is what's going to happen if you don't listen to me, blah blah blah. And he's telling me he's showing me all these newspaper clippings, and at this point I'm sobbing, I'm crying. And at this point I stopped looking at the stuff he's looking, because you do not do that. If you're trying to teach somebody how to drive, you don't start showing them death rates, okay? Like, what? And so it's not even funny. And so I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm frustrated. If you're a Taurus, you know this, like, you know I was so frustrated with him. I wanted to knock the fucking piss out of him. Like, I really was so irritated. And so I'm sitting there crying, and he's talking to me, but I'm not responding. And he's like, you're mad with me, you're sad, you're angry, what is it? And I'm just not answering him, because I'm just like, I'm not even having a conversation with this man right now, because I'm going to fucking punch him. Like, don't talk to me crazy. I don't know you. He's going sick, okay, he's going ham. I'm just not having it. And then he's gonna try to talk nice, like he tried to talk nice to me. I said, bitch, I'm not dream doll, bitch. Don't talk to me nice, don't talk to me at all. And so I'm not responding like I said, and he's trying to get me to respond. And I was just like, you know, it's time to go home, playboy. Fuck this hour, I don't need this hour. Like, I'm gonna get my money back, because this is 2 days in a row now my time is wasted. I didn't say this to him, this is just what I was feeling. I proceeded to drive home because I was just like, I had enough. And so this was 2 out of my 10 hours gone. So when I got home that day, I was like, I'm going to text the people that set up the driving school, like the people, excuse me, I'm gonna text the people that assign you a driver, and I'm gonna let them know that it's not working out between me and Ali, and I need a new instructor, because I'm not going to pass my test with this guy. He is gonna make me fail for a 4th time, and I ain't with the shits, okay? So I write out this long text. At the time I didn't have a lot of auto numbers in my phone, and I never saved his number as Ali. And so when I went to text the the person that assigns the drivers, I actually ended up texting Ali, complaining about Ali to Ali when I meant to text the other people. And Shooter's like, Shooter bet me that that's what I was gonna do, and I think that's why I ended up doing it. He's like, you're so dumb, like you sent Ali that text. So let me find the text and see what I said to him. The guy that was supposed to, I sent it to the wrong person, okay? Sunday, he picked me up at 10:30. We didn't start driving till about 11. That's when he took me to the residential area. Whereas with Shooter got to drive to the residential area on his first day. We went for a drive on Sunday morning. He said the next morning he would pick me up earlier. So Monday, I woke up, I was waiting for his call. He didn't call me. He called Shooter and told Shooter he'll take him after 5 p.m. He cut into my driving time by constantly making me pull over to show me his newspaper clippings and made me read them, which only made me anxious, and that is not a good teaching method. I've driven many times before. I haven't driven in a while, so granted I am rusty, but he doesn't even allow me to press the gas at all. We literally drove around the residential area for 1 hour and 30 minutes at 15 kilometers, hovering over the brake. With him hovering over the brake. I have habits I need to break, but they can't be broken in 1 hour of driving. He made me less confident and less comfortable driving by belittling me. If that's how he teaches, it's fine, but every student is different. Now, Shooter finishes today, but Ali said he can't take me until Saturday. It's Tuesday. I've only been driving once for less than 2 hours, which is what I thought I was paying for. 10 hours in car learning. So I sent that to the wrong person. I sent that to the wrong person. I sent that to Ali. Ali was pissed that I was saying this to him. And so I just I ended up blocking his number and texting the right person. And so basically, once I texted the right person, they ended up messaging me back and telling me, okay, we're gonna switch your instructor to this person instead. And I was like, okay, cool. That's what happened. They switched me over from Ali to let's call him Queso. Queso was the freaking best. Like, the best. I loved him. He was calm, cool, collected. He was always praising me when I was driving. I was like, yes, this is what I need. You know, I need somebody to toot my horn a little bit, okay? And so once I switched over to him, that's when I really started to learn how to drive properly. So they switched me over to this guy now. I explained to him that I want the 2 hours back that I spent with the other guy. He is like, okay, we'll see what we can do or whatever. Anytime I was getting in his car, I would drive, and he was a great teacher, and he taught me everything I needed to know. When we went to the residential area, he taught me how to parallel park. I parallel park like a boss now or whatever, blah. And so when he was my teacher, I was feeling extremely confident. When I failed the 4th time, I was devastated. Devastated. I was so freaking pissed, okay? This pimply face frigger, okay? This pimply face frigger is the guy that's doing the test with me this time. My driving instructor actually gave me a thumbs up because anytime that guy's done one of his students, one of my driving instructor's students, he's always passed them. So my driving instructor thought I was ready. He said, you're ready, you're fine, you're gonna be fine, don't let your anxiety take over, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I got this. Meanwhile, I'm freaking out like a mother, but whatever. The guy comes in the car or whatever, and he seemed pretty happy-go-lucky. He wasn't stern or like mean like any of the other instructors that I've had before. And so I was feeling pretty confident. Yeah. Basically what happened was we're doing the test and everything's going okay. I've done the route 100 times because my driving teacher actually takes you on the route that they do with the school or with the drive test center. I did that route religiously, and so I felt like I was ready. And I did the route 100 times, but this time was just a little different. So we're doing the test now, and we're at the home stretch of the test, you guys. The home stretch. This was my last left turn, and left turn on a test is super important. Like, it's really important. You don't want to mess up your left turn, especially living here in Ottawa, because in Ottawa there's like 2 left turn lanes, and a lot of the streets, a lot of the intersections, there's 2 left turning lanes. So you could be in the inside or the outside, but you're both gonna turn. And so it's really important to know how to left hand turn on a green or an advance. And so we're at this little intersection. There's no advance and there's not 2 lanes. There's only 1 lane, but sometimes there's a lineup to go and do the left turn because there's cars that will be going straight. Now, if you're doing a left turn and the light goes yellow, you just have to commit to the turn and you're Gucci. You know what I mean? Why did I hesitate? I hesitated, and not only did I hesitate, but because there was no cars behind me and the light went yellow, I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna make it because there was a car in front of me. I backed that bitch up. I backed the car up, backed it up behind the line, behind the pedestrian line, because the light was turning. Had I committed to that turn, because I was already out into the intersection technically, but I wasn't far out. Like, I wasn't so far past the pedestrian line that I couldn't reverse. Like, I just felt like if I was doing that, I was going to be running through a red light, and I didn't want to run through the red light because I'm doing a test. So you know what, I'm trying to be on my best behavior. Maybe after the test I could run through red lights, but not right now. So that's basically what my mindset was. And so I reversed, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think he was going to fail me for that. I was just like, I did the right thing. I'm a good citizen. You know what I mean? No, you don't know what I mean, because a bitch didn't pass that day. So once the light turned green, I went, because I was the first car. I went, I did the freaking left-hand turn, and then we pulled back up to the test center. We pulled up to the test center now. I parked my car perfectly, and I'm waiting for this man to tell me that I finally fucking passed after my 4th attempt of doing driving school, after doing my 4th driving test. Girl, when this man told me he can't pass me, but I am not far off, I wanted to slap the pimples, pus, and gunk off in his face. I was so mad. He's like, you're not far off, you know, but you did this wrong. You can't hesitate at a light. Like, you have to take the turn. You know, it's really, we don't want to be backing up at the light and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what else was on there that I did wrong for him to fail me, but like, My parallel park was A1. My 3-point turn, oh, I think I messed up on my 3-point turn that time. I think I had gone a little bit too far back. I didn't need to go back as far as I did. But like, I still wasn't getting it right, and so that was straight anxiety because, like I said, I did all these things 100 times with my driving instructor, and I felt comfortable. But I think that's the thing, like, my driving instructor made me feel too damn comfortable because he was so nice. And so when it came to the test now, on the 4th, I failed, and so I was just like, wow, my 10 hours in class are up. I'm gonna have to keep paying this guy to teach me because I don't feel now that I can do this. And so once you fail a test, you have 10 days to rebook. You can't book within the 10 days that you fail. You have to wait 10 days and then book. What happened was, for my 5th test, I booked online, but their server was not working, but the website doesn't act like it's not working. It just is not working. So people were booking tests and the system was unbooking the test. So imagine this. Imagine booking your test, being all ready, finally feeling confident, like I've done more classes with my instructor now. Now I'm feeling like I can't fail. Get to the drive test center and they are trying to tell me that I don't have a test booked. I said, yes I do. What are you talking about? I have a test booked. What are you talking about? This is my 5th test, okay? Like, I have a test booked. Don't play with me, honey. I'm ready to go today. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel anxiety. Maybe because the universe knew that I wasn't going to do my test, so there was no need for me to feel nervousness and anxiety. There was no need for me to feel it that day, okay? But anyway, I wasn't feeling scared, anything. I was ready to go, and I was like, I'm passing today. I told myself this, I'm passing today. I couldn't even sleep the night before, okay? And so, yeah, like I said, I go inside and they ask me my name and stuff, and I'm like, I have a test book, and they're like, there ain't no test, bitch. You ain't got no damn test. And so I'm pissed. So I go back to the car and I'm bawling my eyes out, and my instructor's like, no, don't cry, don't cry. All this stuff, and I'm like, no, like, this is frustrating. Like, I'm ready today, and today is the day that I want to do the test, and now I am booked and I can't do the test. Like, I'm pissed. Like, only will this happen to me. I can't make this up. Like, I can't. This is what happens to me. So we call to the drive test center to book. You have to pay by credit card if you're paying over the phone. But at the time, my credit card was prepaid, and so we would have to drive to go load my credit card to basically, we'd have to pay to load the credit card, and then once we loaded the credit card, then I could book the test. And so I didn't have money on the credit card. I was already frustrated, so I was just like, no, forget it. Like, I'll just book it, whatever. And then between that time and the time I actually booked the next test was very, very long. Once again, so this is test number 6, because I booked the 5th test, but I never got to do it. So I booked test number 6. This is my 6th time booking, but it's my 5th time booking. And I go to do the test. It's this grumpy old Caucasian man. I could tell by his vibe that he probably wasn't gonna pass me. I do the test and I fail again. I don't even remember what I did wrong this time. I think he was just having a bad day, because I was so confident in my driving at this point that I was like, what could I possibly do wrong? I turned too wide, like, what did I do? So I don't know where the yellow paper is. I have it around here somewhere. Incorrect use of the steering wheel, which is a big fucking deal apparently, okay? So I had improper use of the steering wheel. I don't know what else was on there, honestly, because I know my parallel park at this point and my 3-point turn were both A1, so those were good, but there were just other little nits that he couldn't pass me for. And so he was just being a dick about it. And so he decided he was going to fail me. When we got back to the test center and he was telling me why he's failing me, I said, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car, because he's talking. He's trying to tell me why he's failing me. I said, just get out of the car. This is my fucking 5th test. I'm freaking out on him. I'm like, get out of the car. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Get out of the car. As I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, I'm literally yelling, screaming at the man, telling him to get out of the car. I don't care why I failed. Do not tell me anything. I will read the paper on my own time. You don't need to say. And he's still talking while I'm yelling at him. I wanted to scream. Like, I was so freaking irritated. You guys have no idea the blood that was rushing through my body at this point. And so, of course, I'm devastated again. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? I quit. I quit. I'm just gonna have a driver because I'm gonna be a fucking millionaire, and I don't need to learn how to drive. I don't even care. I'm not gonna get my license. I don't care. My hands are tied. I'm throwing them up in the air. It is what it is. I'm done with driving. I'm done. But obviously I knew that that was not realistic. So I put my big girl panties on and I said, I'm gonna try this one last time, baby. One last time, one last hurrah. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get it done. And I was still paying the driving instructor at this point because I'm like, what is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I can drive. I drive every day now with this damn driving instructor. And so between the time that I booked the test to do the last test that I did and the time that I was learning, or not learning, the time that I was paying the driving instructor, that's when I bought my first car. So yeah, hello, hi, this is when I got my license. Now mind you, I was driving around all these years without my fucking license, my proper license. This is when I bought the car because I felt like, look, if I don't buy a car, I'm not gonna feel a reason to go get this license right now. I'm just not, because there's no point. I keep failing this test. I'm wasting $50 every single time I have to take this test and fail it. So I don't see a point in getting my license if I don't have a car. So let me get a car. So I bought the car and I said, if I fail this freaking test and I have a car sitting out there that I cannot drive, I'm gonna lose my mind. I buy my car and my car is sitting there. Shooter's allowed to drive it. I can't really drive it, but I was driving it, but I would drive it from like A to B. I would never ever try to drive it far distances, except for like 1 or 2 times my mom came down from Toronto before she moved here, and I would drive her to the Greyhound station or downtown to catch rideshare. You just gotta look for the 5. Oh, okay, you gotta look for 12, and that's it. If 12 ain't around, you're good. Like in Toronto, I could never ever get away with doing that. Well, actually, that's a lie because we used to take my aunt's car all the time when we just had our G1. So anyway, as I was saying, I went and I booked this test between the time that I was still learning and I bought the car. This final test I do, it's freezing outside, okay? It's raining, of course. And I'm like, just my luck. Like, I knew it was gonna rain, but that ain't finna stop me today, baby. No, it's not. I'm sitting in the car. I'm anxious this time because I'm like, this is my last time taking this test. My license is about to expire. Your license expires within 5 years of obtaining it. It was going to expire this year, so I knew I had to pass that test. There was no question about it. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is it, Bo. Like, you're gonna pass today. It is what it is. You know, you've been defeated so many times. You just got your first car. Just be confident. Like, you got this. Like, you've been doing this. There's no reason you can let your anxiety take over this time. Like, honestly, my anxiety was what was failing me. It wasn't because I can't drive. Like, I can drive fine. It was literally just my anxiety taking over and being scared in the car. And so this is how I know there's a God, you guys. So I'm waiting in the car for the instructor to come, and this cute little black girl with curly hair pulls up to the window like, hey sis. And she's like, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm passing today. I said, thank you, Jesus. I knew I was gonna pass. As soon as I saw her, I said, yep, I'm passing. So I wind the window down and she's like, hey, I'm your driving instructor, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey girl, hey, come in, let's go, let's get this shit popping. So she makes me do all the light shit. She makes me do my left indicator, right indicator, brake pedal, or brake light, sorry, honk the horn, and blah, blah, blah. She hops in the car and she's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, this is my 5th or 6th test. She's like, really? It only says you've done 1 here. I said, this is my 5th or 6th test. I didn't say it like that, but I was like, no, that's incorrect. I don't know what that's about, but that's incorrect. This is like my, honestly, every time I do the test, I just explained it to her. I'm like, every time I do the test, I get super anxious. I can't breathe. Like, I just get super nervous. I can't handle the pressure. And I tell her this before we're pulling off. She's like, well, don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. Like, it's really simple. We're going to go around the block. We're going to come back and you'll be fine. This is early in the morning too, right? My teacher told me to book either really early, or he told me what times to book my test between, and he said if you book between those times it's better because the roads are clear, you don't have to worry about school and blah blah blah, because there's a school zone close to where we were. Once I told her that, she's like, okay, you're gonna exit and then blah blah blah. And so I was like, okay. She's like, you ready? I'm like, yeah. So we start driving and I'm nervous and I feel anxious still, even though she's mad chill. And so I'm feeling anxious, but she's talking to me the entire time. And she's telling me she's telling me about her jobs and stuff, and like we end up talking about flight attending, and then I'm telling her about the time I was I was in flight attending training and stuff, and she just talked to me the entire time, and it felt like, you know when you have an interview and it doesn't feel like an interview and you know you're gonna get the job? That's how it felt. She was making me feel so comfortable, and honestly, bless her, like I wanted to buy her a gift card for the keg or something. Like I wanted to buy a gift card and drop it off at work, but I didn't want to get in trouble because they were gonna think, oh, so this new bitch is passing people out here for gift cards to the keg. So no, I didn't want to do that, but I didn't know how to thank her when she passed me. But like anyways, like I say, she talked to me the entire time. She made me feel ridiculously comfortable, and yeah, like I don't even know how to explain to you. I just got really lucky and blessed that day that she was my instructor, because if it was anybody else, I don't feel like I would have passed. Like she just made me feel really comfortable and secure in the car, in the drive. She didn't make my anxiety spike even though I was already anxious. Like she just made me feel comfortable, and so that's basically how I passed the test. Because if I wasn't comfortable, or if it wasn't her that came up to the car, it'd be like, I don't know if I would have passed. That was the last and final time, and I finally got my freaking G2, and I was just like, oh, bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Okay, I was so relieved to finally get it. Yeah, it was definitely a journey getting my license. It really was. 6-7 times the charm. Like I don't even know. Like honestly, it was hard to deal with, and I was like, I can't fail. Like I bought a car. Like I'm not failing this test. There's no way. Absolutely no way. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fail. No, sorry. So that's what happened. So that is the story on the worst in driving instructor ever. Okay, the psychotic man, and the 7 times or whatever I did my driving test 7 times, 6 times failed, 4 times, girl, I don't know how many times I failed, but yeah, I love you all. And I will definitely see you in the next one. Make sure if you have similar experiences, or if you took many times to pass, let me know in the comments, and I'll be so happy to read those comforting comments. I love you all, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.